Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. Here we have 3 multisport watches from Garmin and we are going to find out what similarities and differences are between these 3 and which one you should get and why. Let's do this. The watches we are talking about today are the Forerunner 735 XT, the Forerunner 935 and the Fénix 5S Plus. Admittedly, these watches are not the latest, most up-to-date models from Garmin, but I found that they are still very popular amongst runners and triathletes, and people are still asking questions about these models on forums, Facebook and Instagram every day. Thanks to the now lower prices, you can get pretty good deals on any of these watches if you look around online, and they have almost all the main features and functions as the newer, more expensive models do, so I thought, why not give them a go? You may have already seen my review on the 735 XT. If not, click on this link, as in that video I talk about a lot of features in details which apply to all 3 watches. Now, quickly, just to put the 3 watches in some context first, the 735 XT is Garmin's basic multisport watch, the least expensive of this trio. The 935 is one step up in terms of features and price, but if you want the best build quality and the most amount of features and smart functions, you have to go with the Fénix 5 series, or in our case, the Fénix 5S Plus to be exact. Now, onto the details, starting with the design and build quality. The 735 and the 935 are very similar in terms of both design and build quality. Their bodies are made of durable plastic with rubber bands on both. These 2 watches are only available in black and maybe 1 or 2 other colors. The plastic buttons feel a bit toy-like on the 735, but I really love the metal buttons on the 935. They are somewhat easier to use, they give you better feedback during an exercise or a race. When it comes to design, the Fénix 5S Plus takes it to a whole another level. Stainless steel body, metal buttons with many great color options to choose from. Also, the Fénix has a quick fit band, which means you can easily switch between different styled bands if that's your thing. However, the better build quality comes with a huge jump in weight. And when I say a huge jump, I mean a substantial amount of 16 grams, which might not sound that much at first, but when you put it on your wrist, the difference is quite obvious, and we are talking about the 5S, which is the smallest of the 3 available sizes in the Fénix line. The Fénix 5 and the 5X are even bigger and heavier. Personally, I prefer the weight and the size of the 935, but some other color options and a bit more metal in the body would be great. Onto the displays, the 3 are similar in size, with the 735 XT having a bit lower resolution than the other 2. All 3 of them use the same transflective technology, which makes them easy to read in direct sunlight or in basically any light for that matter. Let's talk about the features now, starting with the basics that all 3 watches have in common. There is Bluetooth, GPS, GLONASS, a heart rate monitor, a compass and an accelerometer built into all 3 watches. They are all compatible with ANT Plus devices such as cadence, speed or external heart rate monitors. I found the GPS pretty accurate and within a 1% range on all of them, but the heart rate monitors are only useful if you don't need 100% precise and accurate data. I used my HRM Tri chest heart rate monitor as reference, and although the heart rate monitors built into the watches were within 2 to 3 beats per minute in general, there were times when they displayed highly inaccurate data with more than 10 beats off per minute. As an average, at the end of a workout they were usually within a few beats again, so I would say they are all usable for mostly anybody, but if you want the most accurate measurements, as always, you have to use an external monitor. Continuing with the similarities, all 3 watches do activity tracking, sleep monitoring, step counting, and tons of different performance and health statistics are available on all devices. The watches offer mostly the same features and data for running, cycling, swimming, weight training, walking and triathlon or other multisport activities, and all 3 of them are waterproof, but there is a slight difference because the 2 Forerunners are rated up to 5 atmospheres, while the Fénix 5S Plus is waterproof up to 10. There are customizable widgets, clock faces, data fields and apps available for all the watches, with loads of downloadable options from the Garmin Connect app, but more on that in a minute. They all display notifications from your phone as well. So what is different then? Well, there is a lot. Starting with the hardware, both the 935 and the Fénix 5S Plus have Wi-Fi, a barometric altimeter, a gyroscope and a thermometer, but you cannot find any of these in the 735 XT. Even though the 735 and the 935 are both from the Forerunner series, their menu systems are also different. Actually, it's the Fénix 5S Plus and the 935 which have very similar menus. So the 735 has a much more simpler menu system, while the other two have a more complex software with more functions and settings to play with. First, there is the quick menu which is missing from the 735 XT. This is where you have quick access to extra functions like a stopwatch or do not disturb on the 935 and the Fénix. There are other options missing from the 735, such as downloadable maps. You cannot control your music from the 735 either, but you can control it using the 935. The Fénix 5S Plus goes even a step further and lets you download and play music from the watch itself. It is also Spotify compatible and can be connected to your wireless headphones without needing your phone. It might be one of the greatest features for people who don't want their phone on them while running or exercising. I mentioned before that all three models do activity tracking, of course, but there are differences in the number of activity presets to choose from. There are loads of recreational activity presets on both the 935 and the Fénix 5S Plus, on top of the basic running, cycling and swimming, such as yoga, skiing, snowboarding, paddleboarding and even golf. However, you can add manual activity profiles to any of the three watches, including the 735. You cannot get downloadable golf course maps, for example, on the 735 and the 935, but the Fénix does offer such an option. All three watches give you plenty of training-related data, such as your estimated VO2 max or training effect, but training status and training load are only available on the 935 and the Fénix 5S Plus. There is also an incident detection and assistance function on the Fénix 5S Plus, a feature which none of the Forerunners have. And last but not least, the Fénix 5S Plus has Garmin Pay for contactless payments. There probably are many other nuances I might not know about, but you can always check out Garmin's website for a full list of specs and can compare the different models. I'll have a link in the description below for you guys, so you can easily check all the specs in detail. To some of you, battery life might be one of the most important features, so let's talk about that next. The battery life is by far the best on the Forerunner 935, with an average of around 10 days with almost everyday exercise and some GPS use. It would last 20 plus hours with continuous GPS use as well. The 735 and the Fénix 5S Plus can only last maybe half that long, so 4 or 5 days with some workouts and the occasional GPS use, which is still good, but maybe not good enough for longer events such as full distance Ironmans or ultramarathons, because they won't last longer than 12 to 14 hours with the GPS continuously on. All watches have an Ultra Tech mode, which can save some battery life by using the GPS a bit differently, so it is always an option. It takes maybe 1.5 to 2 hours to fully charge their batteries. The chargers of the 935 and the Fénix 5S Plus are the same, but the 735 uses a different cable with a different type of connection. As all Garmin watches, these three are also using the Garmin Connect smartphone app to collect, organize, display and distribute all your performance and health-related data. The app works basically the same way with all three watches, except for the few missing features such as training load or training status on the 735 XT. I talked about the app in more detail in my 735 XT review, so check that out if you want to know more. Link in the description. As you could see, there are a lot of similarities and a few major differences between these three watches. The Garmin Forerunner 735 XT and the 935 are very alike in their design and general build quality, and there is a lot of similarities between the 935 and the Fénix 5S Plus in terms of software and functions. I would say that the 935 is a good mix of the other two watches, offering most of the extra features of the more expensive Fénix in a slightly improved case over the cheaper 735 XT. If you need all the smart and lifestyle features such as music playback, contactless payments, downloadable golf maps, and you like to choose from different size and color options, then you have to go with the Fénix 5S Plus. Between the two Forerunners, you might want to choose the 935 for the much better battery life, and it is also a step up from the 735 XT in terms of features and available performance-related data. Of course, you still get 90% of all these for a lot less money in the 735 XT as well, so you have to decide for yourself which option might suit your everyday life and your fitness goals the best. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions about these three watches, feel free to ask me in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, see you next time.